Hello and welcome. This is We Talk Football. Uh, this week, I wanted to talk about something that I've been seeing quite a lot on the internet, on YouTube. I've seen a lot of podcasts and a lot of sports channels like Sky Sports, Jamie Carragher and Gary Neville. I've seen a lot of my favorite podcasts in terms of football that I watch as well, and they've been making an EA Sports best 11 for the year of 2024. And it's been okay so far, but I've seen a lot of things that make me cry. Um, I've seen a lot of things that are just maddening, that are just a madness, really. And I've seen a lot of players that were not mentioned or not included that I believe were a sure bet to be in those teams. So today I wanted to make my own. I wanted to make a We Talk Football best 11 for 2024. Right? I think that's only right to correct the wrongs of people who just don't know better. People who need a little bit of help, a little bit of guidance to the right directions. That's what I'm here for. So today I'm going to talk about the best 11 for 2024 in my eyes and what I saw. But before we get into that, please remember to follow us everywhere on YouTube and Instagram at We Talk Football 24. Um, and also catch us on Facebook at We Talk Football. This is going to be an interesting one. So let's get into it. Now, I have to say this. To start things off, right, we're going to have a 4-3-3 formation. And to start things off, obviously, you have to start with your number one, the goalkeeper. I have to say the last year wasn't a great year for goalkeepers. Um, I mean, I think we do have good goalkeepers. We have great, all time great goalkeepers playing right now, right? But I just think 2024, it wasn't a bad year for goalkeepers, but it wasn't a really excellent, a great year for goalkeepers. So there are a few nominees like um, Michael Magnon of AC Milan in France. You do have, you know, goalkeepers who have kind of emerged as one of the best as well. You always have Allison there. Thibaut Courtois didn't have a great 2024 because he was injured a lot. He spent most of his time in hospital recovering. David Raya has also emerged as a really good goalkeeper. I'm not sure if he's world class yet, but I think he's had a really good 2024 and he's had a good start to the season as well. So he's a good mention. But I've chosen Emi Martinez as my starting 11 goalkeeper, the best goalkeeper of 2024, simply because he was instrumental in Aston Villa qualifying for the Champions League. I'm not going to say he was the best player for Villa, but he is certainly one of the most important, one of their best players. And any other goalkeeper, I think, in that situation, maybe Villa don't qualify. They needed his big character, his ability to save chances and to save his team. He's been excellent, and I like him. I like him. I'm still when you look back, he used to play for Arsenal and he stayed for a long time, and I think he wanted to stay, and that's why he always gives it to us whenever he plays against Arsenal. He could be okay in previous games, but when it comes to Arsenal, he pulls out all the stops. He's like he's prime. He becomes prime Manuel Neuer against Arsenal, and I think he's just sticking it to us. We didn't believe he could be this good, but he is. And also, he went away to Argentina, and it was pivotal. The one thing about Emi Martinez is, even if you don't believe he's the best goalkeeper in the world, right? But he's certainly the most clutch goalkeeper in the world. And I think in big moments, he is big as well. He's big money, man. You can cash it in. Whenever you need him the most, whenever Argentina need him the most, whenever Villa need him the most, especially for Argentina. I still remember that save in the World Cup final, saving Colomwani. through one on goal and penalty shootouts. He comes big in the penalty shootouts in the Copa America, not final, but in the semi final. He was huge as well. So for me, the best goalkeeper of 2024, Emi Martinez. At a right back, there have been quite a few right backs that I could mention as well. But for me, well, let me give good shout outs to the right backs that have been excellent. Trent has been good. I still think he's frail defensively. He needs a lot of work. He could be a target for teams when playing against Liverpool. Ben White was excellent, man. Look, at the turn of the year, right? Arsenal went on that trip to Dubai and they came back prime Brazil 2002 and they were smashing everyone to pieces. They were putting teams away, and I think one of the best players in that run was Ben White. He deserves a mention. And right back, um, Hakim Ashraf Hakimi. I think he deserves a mention just simply because he pied his ex-wife from getting anything. He put everything in his mom's name, and I think just for that, man, he's a hero. He's a legend for me. He's a surefire Hall of Famer just because of that. But he's just a mention right now. Um, but I do have to say the best right back I think was Danny Carvajal. He was instrumental. He scored in the Champions League final for Real Madrid. He is a captain, right? And he is Real Madrid through and through. He bleeds white. Um, and for Spain as well, he was excellent. He was one of the leaders for the team. He was one of the most important players. And the thing about Danny Carvajal, right? Season in, season out, you think he's a bit old now, he's a bit long in the tooth, he might be found out, but nah, he finds people out. He's the one finding people out and stopping a wingers coming at him. He's solid. He'll I don't think Danny Carvalho will ever be like a 10 out of 10 kind of player. Like there are right backs who have higher peaks than Danny Carvajal, but he's always a consistent 7 or 8 out of 10 kind of performer. You can always rely on him. He's trustworthy. Now he's got the injury, right, early on in the season, at the beginning of the season, and probably that's why it's ramped up Real Madrid's pursuit for Trent Alexander-Arnold. But I think he was the best right back last year. Even getting that red card, it was a crucial red card to give away. I mean, a red card is never anything great, right? But he had to take one for the team for Spain against Germany when Musiala was counter-attacking Spain, and he just said, look, boy, you're not getting past, you're not going anywhere, you're not going further because I'm going to take this red card for the team. Missed the next game back in the final, Spain won. Happy days, so I think he was the best right, for me, the most consistent, the best right back of 2024. Now, the next guy that I want to talk about is Danny Carvajal's teammate, Antonio Rudiger. He was excellent as well. Um, he was fantastic for Real Madrid. Uh, I don't think he was that great for Germany, but I think Germany as a team were like excellent. Everyone was really good, and he was one of the players that were consistent in the team, right? He was strong, he played well. One thing to pick out for uh, Antonio Rudiger in his performance last year in 2024 was his performance against Erling Haaland at the Etihad. Like going there, it's a cauldron, it's a slaughterhouse for many teams. But he went in there and he stopped Haaland. He stopped the threat of Haaland. And also the thing about him is last season he played with a lot of players, different partnerships. He didn't have a centre back that he could consistently rely on game in, game out. Had Nacho filling in, David Alaba, Militao. He had a few players coming in and out the team, but he was the consistent. He plays with an edge that Real Madrid always rely on as well. The edge, the fire. He's the leader in the team, and I put him in there. For, well, of course, the great season that he had, a great 2024 he had, but also just for that performance at the Etihad, So not many teams go in there and stop Man City from playing. Real Madrid, Arsenal are those teams that do that. It's a hard thing. That's why Carlo Ancelotti took the blueprint on how to play against Manchester City. He got it from Arsenal. So, but anyway, Antonio Rudiger in my 2024 best 11. Now, this is an interesting one. His partner, right? And lots of people, lots of centre backs to mention as well, to shout out, to give honor to, like Bastoni, fantastic last season for Inter Milan. Calafiori had an excellent Euro Championship. He misses out. They miss out. Lots of players like Gabriel, you could have mentioned, who was excellent for Arsenal. But in my opinion, I'm going to leave out Virgil van Dijk as well. And for me, it's not a very difficult decision to leave Virgil van Dijk out. I'm going to have William Saliba, my boy. He is the Rolls Royce, isn't he? Like, he just lies and he finesses players out with like such ease and but great power. He is amazing, man. Like, tell me about Saliba. How good is he? How much do you think William Saliba costs in this market? An easy 100 mil. Easy 100 mil. But we're not talking about that because I don't want to encourage any 100 mil coming to Arsenal. Hell, I don't want anything. I don't want him to leave. He's fine there, right? He's an Arsenal boy through and through. He's gonna stay there for the rest of his life. But I chose William Saliba instead of Virgil van Dijk, and people will be asking why not Virgil van Dijk. Virgil van Dijk should be in this team. I say not, and this is why. 2024 Premier League Team of the Season, Saliba. Euro Championship Team of the Tournament, Saliba. FIFA Best Team of the Year 2024, William Saliba. So 3 times William Saliba has made it into Team of the Tournament or Team of the Season's Team of the Year, slash, slash, slash. And as great as Virgil van Dijk was last year in 2024, he wasn't as good as William Saliba. I'm sorry. And I know Virgil van Dijk has started off this season really well, but William Saliba has been excellent as well. And what I've just read to you, all those competitions Virgil van Dijk participated in. Virgil van Dijk played in the Premier League. Virgil van Dijk was in the Euro Championship. And he wasn't in any of those team of the tournaments, right? Or team of the seasons. So for me, it's an easy pick. It's William Saliba, the best center back in world football right now. For me, he's the best center back in the world. So there you go, William Saliba. At left back, quite a few people that you could mention at left back, really, like Anthony Robertson. At Fulham, you can mention Marco Corella. I think Marco Corella, right, last year, 2024, he had a good season. He had a good year. But second half of last season, he was still finding his feet in the new system with Poch. But then he went to the Euros. He was outstanding. He was one of the best players for Spain. Spain had a number of few players that were just superb, right? Almost the entire 11. But Marco Corella was one of the best players to come out. He was fantastic. You could shout out who's that boy? The boy for Man City. Josko Guardiol. Yeah, you could shout out Josko Guardiol. He had a great season, even though I still say he's on watch. I'm watching it. I'm not completely sold on Josko Guardiol. I know he scored all those goals. He was crucial for Man City in the title run, but I still think either he's not a left back and he should be moved to centre back, or he is a little bit shaky. But anyway, my left back is Grimaldo. He was a key member of the Bayer Leverkusen that went invincible. They were almost a true invincible. You know what I mean? Like they almost went the entire season in all competitions unbeaten, zero losses until the final game of their season, and they played Atalanta, and then Adamola Lookman, who had his teeth razor sharpened, and he was ready. He Ademola Lookman is the only other player in European competition final to get a perfect 10 out of 10 rating. The other being Lionel Messi in the 2011 Champions League final. That's the company, and that's what took a team to beat Bayer Leverkusen last season. An almost perfect game to beat Bayer Leverkusen last season. And Grimaldo was a part of that. He was excellent. He's great moving forward. He's a key member of that formation that Xabi Alonso plays. The four, sorry, not four. The 3-5 the 3-5-2, and he's an important wing back for 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 Bayer Leverkusen. The funny thing about that is he he had an excellent 2024, but he didn't play in the Euro Championship. I think Spain trusted Marco Corella more, and rightfully so. Marco Corella was excellent, but I still say Grimaldo had a better 2024 than Marco Corella. For the DM, the six, it's pretty easy, pretty obvious, but we could mention a few other players that could have made it. I think Zubimendi was fantastic in the six, and this player Hakan Çalhanoğlu, right? I've seen him begin his career, and the transition that he's made from I used to see him as a 10 before, and then he transitioned, and now he plays as a six. He played as an eight as well, but he's the deep lying player for Inter Milan. He makes everything tick. But for me, the six, and it's not negotiable. It's Rodri, right? He's an outstanding talent, an outstanding player, a generational player. I think because he could go down as one of like he could go down as a top three DM in football history. That's how good he is. The last kind of DM that won a Ballon d'Or was Lothar Matthäus in the 90s, and that's the company he's in now. It's whether now you can debate whether he should have gotten a Ballon d'Or or not, or whether it should have went to Vinicius Junior, but he does, and I think he's by far the best six in world football, and I think the distance between him and the next best defensive midfielder is the biggest in any other position, right? Like you could make arguments about other positions and like centre backs or right backs, but a defensive midfielder, he's by far the best. He's world class, and he is in my team of the season. Now, just like what I said previously about Rodri, the six, and he's the best six, and it's not even close. This as well is not very very close. I think. I mean, it's a bit closer than the six from number one to number two, but I still think it's very clear who is the best eight, who's the best box to box midfielder in world football. It's Federico Valverde. I love the guy, man. His energy, his fire. He plays with such intensity. Whenever he steps on the field, you know what you're gonna get. He's not gonna shortchange you. He's not gonna give you a lemon. He's going to perform, and he's an engine. He's such an engine for Real Madrid, for Uruguay. His man of the match performance at the Etihad for Real Madrid when they drew 0-0 and basically dumped City out of the Champions League last season is why I think he's the best six. He's the best eight in world football. He runs up and down, he scores goals, he tackles. As I said, I don't know if there's a player in world football right now that plays with as much fire and intensity as Federico Valverde. I love it. I love it, man. And he easily slots into the 2024 Team of the Year for me. Now, this I think you can have a quite a debate about this position. The 10, sorry, there are players that you could mention, and any one of them could be in the Team of the Year. But for me, it has to be Cole Palmer. He had an excellent year. Only Erling Haaland. I think wait. I think he had more goals and assists than Erling Haaland. Of course, Erling Haaland had more goals, but I think in terms of goals and assists, he's even above Erling Haaland in 2024. This season, last year in 2024, there was a point where he was just the best player, probably in world football, definitely in the Premier League, when he scored those 4 goals against Brighton. And it wasn't just, easy goals, tap ins, or penalties that he's been accused of just having, but his goals were excellent. He scored free kicks, curlers, beautiful finishes around the goalkeeper. And I think that kind of game is why he, for me, makes it into the Team of the Year. He had a full 2024 for me. And that's what I look at as well. Like when I choose these players, I look at the entirety of the year, right? And for a player like Jude Bellingham, who could have been in this position in the 10, number one, I don't think he's a 10. I think he should play as an 8. I know he scores goals, crucial goals, clutch goals for Real Madrid and for England. But I still think he's not a 10. I think he should be playing as an 8 because he has that kind of energy. I also don't think he has the passing ability to play as a 10, the creativity to slot balls through, to create chances for his teammates. He's a great 10 in terms of running into the box and scoring goals, but as an all round 10, I think Cole Palmer is better than Jude Bellingham, and he had a better 2024. Here, Cole Palmer um, was performing really well for Chelsea at the back end of last season at the Euros when he had the chance to play, not many opportunities. And this season as well, he started off this season quite well. Whereas I think Jude had a not so, I won't say he had a bad end of year and end of season last season, but I don't think he was lighting it up like he was at the beginning of last season. And I think his performances kind of they slowed down a bit, but they were not bad. So I think Cole Palmer had a more complete 2024 than Jude Bellingham. Now in this position, right, this is another controversial one, and I'm picking at the right wing spot. I'm picking Lamine Yamal. Now I know there's an obvious name. There's an Egyptian king that people will want me to put in there, but for me, it's not Mohamed Salah. Mohamed Salah had an awful AFCON tournament with Egypt. Got knocked out really early. Couldn't really influence his team to play and to do well in the tournament, and he came back from the AFCON tournament with an injury. I think didn't even get out of the group stages. Egypt really, I think, and he came back. He was injured a bit, and when he came back to Liverpool, he wasn't great. He had a great start to the 23-24 season, but at the back end in the second half, he wasn't the Mohamed Salah that we're seeing right now as the best player in the world. And for me, that's why I will go with Lamine Yamal. I think he had a breakout season. He was excellent for Barcelona. He's been excellent for Barcelona this season as well. He's the top assist maker in La Liga, and I think he has 9 assists, 7 goals in La Liga. Fantastic return for a 17-year-old, and he had a great Euro Championship tournament. For me, he was the player of the tournament. They gave it to Rodri, but I don't think it was supposed to be Rodri. Rodri has been robbing people, man. He's the thief at night. He's the real thief at night. Anyway, I think Lamine Yamal should have been player of the tournament. He was excellent. He had 4 assists in that tournament and 1 goal. Crucial goal in semi-final when he had Adrian Rabiot calling him out. And he said, you know what, Rabiot, I'm going to do this to you. I'm going to dribble past you and I'm going to stick this right next to you, right on your face, boy, and you're going to get it from me. And from a 17-year-old, I think also this, like I've noticed something from him, right? When people talk to him and make him mad, he reacts. At the Bernabeu, the Real Madrid fans were chirping at him, saying nasty things, apparently a bit racist, and he responded by scoring a goal and doing this. He's here. He's Lamine, right? So, for me, it was Lamine Yamal, not Mohamed Salah. Mohamed Salah has been the best player this season, but for the entirety of 2024, he wasn't really good. And he wasn't good for Liverpool at the back end of last season. He was relatively quiet. And I remember a game he had an argument with Jurgen Klopp when he was supposed to come on. It was against Manchester United and didn't play well, didn't affect the game. So for me, like I look at those things, Lamine Yamal, and I'm not saying Lamine Yamal hasn't had bad games. He's had like average games as well. But I think for the entirety of 2024, he was the best player in that right hand spot. You could talk about Bukayo Saka and other players, but for me, it's Lamine Yamal. On the left, pretty easy as well for me. Mm, I think this is another position where you look at and you think the distance between number one and number two is pretty big. It's Vinicius Junior. I believe he was supposed to be player of the year. I believe that he was supposed to get the Ballon d'Or. He did not, of course, and it became a huge fuss. Now I do think he should have been there. You know, he for me the thing is he acts too much like a baby, um, and like his attitude is something that's come under the spotlight. He doesn't have a great attitude to not towards his play, to his game. I think just the opponents he faces, he chirps, he shouts, he pushes at them, he undermines them. He reminds people about how many Champions Leagues he has, and then he doesn't turn up for the Ballon d'Or ceremony. Absolutely classless from somewhat the best player in the world. For me, like, that's wild, right? So, but anyway, Vinicius Junior for me is on the left. Need I say more? He scored in the Champions League final. He had a disappointing Copa America, but I think he has claim to the best player in the world title, and I think he's been fantastic in 2024. And there's no doubt for me, Vinicius Junior on the left. Last spot will be Victor Gyökeres for me. The man scored 62 goals. I think, not so sure about this stat, but I think he scored 62 goals in 63 appearances in all competitions last year in 2024, right? And for me, he has to be the striker. Erling Haaland was great, but there were patches where Erling Haaland would be quiet for Manchester City. Like what is going on now, where he'll go games without scoring. And then when he scores, he scores a bunch of goals, and he seems like the best striker in the world. Um, Shout out Harry Kane. Shout out uh, Robert Lewandowski, Erling Haaland. Shout out Alex Isak, man. The boy is a unicorn. He is the man. I would love Arsenal to buy that guy. He should be at a bigger club, I think, respects to Newcastle and all that. I think he is better than Newcastle. He's a unicorn. There's nothing he cannot do on the ball, scores goals. If he can stay fit for long, man, what a career he will have, right? And if he signs for Arsenal. Love you, man. Anyway, Victor Gyökeres, 2024 best player, best striker for me, best nine. The goals return is undeniable, and you can say he plays for Sporting Lisbon in a weaker league. Does not matter really. If you score that amount of goals, you should be seen as one of the best in your position. And for me in 2024, he was the best striker in 2024 last year. I know Haaland, as I said, all the strikers were fantastic. For me, it's Victor Gyökeres for just the sheer number of goals he scored. He also is another player that plays with such intensity, such fire, competitive edge to him, and I love that. He's another striker I would also love to see at Arsenal. Like if we don't get someone like Isak, I would love to have Gyökeres as well. Um, my team, man, Arsenal. Anyway, shout out to Victor Gyökeres for making the We Talk Football 2024 Team of the Year. Shout out to all the players as well. So there you have it, the We Talk Football 2024 Team of the Year. That's what I think it should look like. And for all the podcasts and all the shows doing this EA Sports Team of the Year, blah blah blah, this is how it should be. And I'm not going to take anything else. But shout out to all the players that I did mention. I did mention some of the players that didn't make it into my team and the reasons why. But let me know what you think. Write down below, share, like, subscribe, and remember to follow us everywhere on Instagram, on YouTube, on Facebook at We Talk Football 24, Instagram and YouTube, and We Talk Football on Facebook. But anyway, again, let me know what you think. Thank you very much for watching and see you next time. Awareness.